Ladies and gentlemen, our distinguished presenter, Sri Mu Ramanathan, is Director Structures, Transit and Railways, AECOM, is an engineering consultancy firm with global network of experts. He trained in AECOM's Hong Kong office for over 2 decades, and he is a postgraduate in structural engineering and a member of the prestigious Institution of Structural Engineers UK and Institution of Civil Engineers UK. He is a registered professional engineer of Hong Kong and a chartered engineer of UK. He has had experience in design, construction, supervision, and contract administration. Mr. Ramanathan's projects have involved metro rail works, medium and high rise residential, office, hostel, and commercial buildings. His experiences also involved viaducts, cut and cover structures, site formations, roads, and drainage works. Mr. Ramanathan was involved in several Hong Kong metro rail projects. This includes the detailed design of West Rail and Lohas Park and preliminary design of Shatin Central Link, South Island Line, and West Island Line. Between 2009 and 2014, he led the tender design for the Phase 1 of the Chennai Metro Rail stations numbering 32, and its depot, and has subsequently overseen its design and construction. He has also worked as the lead civil engineering design manager for the Riyadh Metro project and project manager of the Mumbai Coastal Road project, and he is now working as the project manager for the detailed design consultancy of one of the three corridors of the Chennai Metro Rail Phase 2 works. A very warm welcome to you, sir, and over to you for your presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm extremely pleased to be here. August Assembly, we are all here meeting virtually in this Rail Technology Expo. I'm going to say a few words about the modern procurement strategies in metro rail projects all over the world and in India in particular. So I have divided the today's presentation into two parts. Just first thing is just to brush up about the metro rail projects and the role of metro rail in the public transportation all over the world and in India. And the second part is about the different contract models that are used in infrastructure projects in general and metro rail projects in particular. The piece of picture which you see in the screen is the construction of an underground metro station in the southern city of Chennai. You can see the struts. Half of the street is taken by the contractor, and the remaining half is open to the traffic. So first, let us go through the metro rail projects as a whole. It all started 115 years ago. We all know that with London Metro, so soon followed by Paris, New York, and Tokyo. Moscow Metro, one of the prettiest and greatest metros. Those started in 1935. We all came to know only about the magnanimity of that metro very late. Beijing joined late, but it is one of the very big, longest metro rail all over the world. 69, Hong Kong, where I was trained. It started its metro rail construction in 80, Singapore 87, Shanghai 93. So these are all some of the logos of various metros. You can identify some of the logos which are very familiar to you. So this is Hong Kong Metro. This is MTR, what is it called? This is Kowloon Canton Rail Corporation. Now it has also merged with MTR. So this is RTE Dubai. So this is DMRC or Delhi Metro Rail Corporation. In Delhi, this is the famous tube underground, London. So this is overground, again London. So these are all various metros. So over and about 200 cities are enjoying the metro rail transports. And India joined a bit late, but though it joined a bit late, Now it is in a full swing. All the tier 1 and tier 2 cities, what we call tier 1 is more than 5 or 6 million population. So other is less than that, but everywhere it is going on. So in this map, what all you see in green color or metro rail is already under operation and construction, and sorry, in red color. So it is capital city Delhi, Gurgaon, Jaipur, Lucknow, Calcutta, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai, Kochi are some of the cities where metro rail is already in operation and also in construction. And those are in green or in planning stage or construction stage. And metro rail is yet to be thrown open, but things are going on. Though the construction of metros in India started way back in Calcutta, it all became popular only 2 decades ago when Delhi Metro started, because West Bengal in the capital city is Calcutta. The Calcutta used the conventional curtain covered system for the underground metro, both for tunnels and stations. So there were a lot of delays, but Delhi started using both tunnel technology, TBMs, and so it picked up, and now it is going on in more than 25 cities all over India. So here is a list. I'm not going to go through every single item, but this is just to give a feel that things are happening in many cities in India now. So the Delhi Metro, which I was talking about, is now comparable with any other major cities uh, in in the world. So it is more than 347 kilometers of metro, and still construction is going on. And I am working for Chennai Metro, the southernmost part of India, and so many other cities. Hyderabad Metro is a unique metro which has run through the PPP model, and other cities are also gearing up. So here the list continues. These are either in operation or under construction. The various the actual length of the kilometers which are in operation under construction are listed here. And these are some of the items which are proposed: Gokapur, Kozhikode, Nashik, Trivandrum, and the Metro Light, for the people who are not very familiar with the Metro Light, you might have seen light rail in other parts of the world. It is very similar to that. And more simplified form of Metro Neo projects is also through. And now we come to this is just to have a feel of how India is picking up in metro rail industry. And today what I want to talk about is the contract models that are used in the metro industry. So the conventional civil engineering works, it all, the government department, the infrastructure projects, they'll be having a list of contractors, and it is all engineers design and bill of quantities remeasurement contracts. And at the beginning of the job, normally detailed drawings may not be available, but there will be a basic drawings with conceptual design and bill of quantities. So it is a remeasurement. So people are used to that and have been quoting. But when we entered into this, when metro industry came in, and the funding came from different international banking, and this system has to be raised up, and different models have started coming in. So we all know that in any civil engineering projects, big projects, there are different stages. It's planning, it starts with planning and ground investigation, field investigation, and all associated things, and then the conceptual design, and then come the preliminary design. Some people use the terminology basic design for that. And after that comes the detailed design. So these are the steps that are required in design. We cannot straight away go for detailed design. Let us go through the conceptual, preliminary, and during this stage, there will be a lot of iterations. There will be discussions, brainstormings, approvals, and then it will be finalized to a detailed design. So once the detailed design is ready, it will made to a good for construction drawings, and it will go to construction and then operation and maintenance. So this is the various stages of work, whether irrespective of the type of contract, these are the items which are necessarily to be followed. We have to come through these stages, and we are going to talk about different types of contract, and these types of contract depends on several factors. One is the capability of the owner of the project and the chosen contractor, and what are the technical difficulties. The bridge project is different from a tunnel project. A road tunnel is different from a sea tunnel, and it depends on the geology, type of the machineries that are used. So these are the technical difficulties, and there are a lot of uncertainties there, technically, and other external factors as well. And then the finance, where from it comes in and what installments it comes, whether the contractor is provided sufficient advance or he has to mobilize his own funds, or advances are provided or loans are provided, and what are the things that are to be provided by the contractor to raise the money, and how these claims are covered. These are all there. So it all depends on all these things. The maturity of the owner, maturity of the industry as a whole depends on what type of contract we have to choose. So there are several systems. As we said, it starts with basic planning, field investigation, conceptual design, basic design, detailed design, construction, maintenance, operation. These stages are common for any type of project. And in what we call BOT, build, operate, transfer, or design, build, operate contract, it's also called as concession contract, in which the builder or the contractor plays a major role. And as you see here, the basic planning alone is done by the owner, and right from the investigation, from concept design, basic design, detailed design, everything will be with the contractor, and he will also maintain it and operate for a period of time and then transfer to the owner. This is the type of infrastructure projects which we hardly use in metros. And turnkey contracts or EPC contracts, it's basic planning, field investigation, and part of the conceptual design is all done by the owner. And the remaining, right from the part of the conceptual design or from the preliminary design, the contractor takes over. So this is also not very much used, but one example is tried in India, which I will talk about that later. So the design and build contract is very popularly used in India about 2 decades ago when metro industry started, especially the underground contracts, where there are a lot of uncertainties with respect to ground conditions, because with respect to underground contract, it depends on the capability of the contractor and type of the machineries he is using, type of the geology. It depends on so many things. What type of tunnel boring machine is going to use, what type of equipment is going to employ for building his external wall or diaphragm wall, whether it is a grab or it is a trench cutter, what type of geology is it, and what is the contractor's capability. And if you don't have a rock at a high level, you can what type of shoring system to be used. It's all mostly lying with the contractor's choice. So the design and build contract was very popular. So the place where I was trained in Hong Kong in 1980, when the underground construction, metro construction started, it was all design and build only, but not now. I'll tell you why. So in this design and build contract, so the owner will have the basic planning. He will know from where to where he has to run the metro, and which station to which station, what are the station locations, and he'll be having a preliminary ground investigation. And conceptual design will also be done by the owner. Owner in the sense, if the owner is not having his own engineers and architects, he will employ a consultant to do for him, but they will be working for the owner. And part of the basic design will also be the owner's responsibility. After that, it will be tendered out. either by the owner or by the owner's consultant. And then the design and build contractor comes. He'll do the remaining part of basic design, or nowadays in the design and build, the entire basic design is done by the owner's consultant, and the contractor will straight away start from the detailed design, or you will endorse the preliminary design, revisit it, do whatever changes are required in preliminary design, and then move over to detailed design and construction. So though it is said that it is detailed design and construction follow sequentially, normally it happens in parallel for some time. For a period of time, it will be only design, and then it will be design and construction. Both go simultaneously, and then only construction. And after that, the maintenance will also be responsibility of the contractor, but the operation will be by the owner. So there are two types of bonus design which we are going to talk about. So the first type is that most of the detailed design is done by the owner, and the second part is the complete detailed design is done by the owner or owner's consultant. So, um, so in the first case, the part of the detailed design, this model is very very prominently used in many underground projects in India now. That is the architectural design and the mechanical, electrical, plumbing design will all be done by the owner's consultant. But for the civil part, especially in underground, if it is elevated, still it will be done by the owner, because it is the straight away the viaducts and elevated stations. So there are no much of complications with respect to design, or not much of uncertainties. But in case of underground, the model that we are or being used in many part of India is now either it is pure design and build, which is how Delhi Metro started 22 years, 25 years ago, and many other clients followed this. But now many clients have moved to this owner's design, that is wherever it is underground, that civil part, civil design alone will be with the contractor, and the owner will be doing the remaining part. So the second one, which we have now tried in India for the first time in Chennai, that is the entire design is done by the detailed design consultant, that is owner's consultant, and it is only a build-only contract. So both are under operation. So this is the first, in other parts of the world, the complete detailed design by the owner's consultant is not new, but in India, this is being tried for the first time. Because the industry is slowly maturing. So it started with the design and build, and then a hybrid of design by both owner and contractor, and now the design by purely by the entire detailed design by the owner or owner's consultant. So the industry, it only shows that industry is maturing enough, and owners are strengthening their teams. So this is all type of contracts, and we talked about the risk. Okay, so now we go one by one. This is BOT contract or DBO contract. As I said, the blue is for the consultants, and the light green is the responsibility of the contractor. So here it is the total project management will be the design, construction, procurement, finance, operation management, everything will be lying with the contractor. So the contractor has to be a full-fledged organization or a firm which is thoroughly experienced and should have adequate number of technical, non-technical staff to run through the design, run through the construction, and procuring the subcontractors, consultants, and you should manage the finance, everything. So normally this is a lump sum contract. You might get some money from the client, but normally these BOT contracts, the builder will be operating it for some time, like these toll roads, and after a period of time, after collecting the toll of 10 years, 20 years as per the contract, he'll be handing it over back to the owner, and owner will start owner will take over the project. So the responsibility with the contract contracting company is much more in this BOT contract, but not new to the industry. But metro rail industry is not following this system because it's a highly capital intensive, not like building a road bridge and putting some toll gates and collecting tolls. So this, just for the completeness of infrastructure project types, I have included this. And so this is all the different stages. So now we go to the second part, that EPC, that is engineering procurement turnkey contract. So this is owner will be doing part of the design, conceptual design, and that is basic planning, investigation, conceptual design. Part of the conceptual design will be the owner's responsibility, but then contractor will take over. He will complete the conceptual design, take over complete basic design or preliminary design, entire detailed design, entire construction, maintenance, but operation will be forwarded to, given back to the client. So this model, again, not very popular in the metro industry for the capital intensive nature of the metro rail projects. But in Hyderabad, this model was used, or what we call PPP. So what the government did, they gave the contractor some government lands. So those lands, along with the construction of metro projects, they also developed those land, built structures over there. They developed real estate, and the revenue out of that, by selling it or leasing it out, was taken by the contractor. So there was an arrangement between the owner and the contractor, and he engaged his own designers and his own subcontractors. So except operation part, starting from half of the conceptual design, this is done. But in civil engineering industry, it is only in chemical plants, power plants, those type of industries where it is used. But for one time, it has been used in India, in Hyderabad, and the project is running very well, but not a very popular model, owing to a lot of financial responsibilities and constraint. So this is a very popular model, design and build. That is, contractor will do the detailed design, and he will also do the construction and the part of the preliminary design as well. So as I said before, this is underground metros are using this. So basic planning, conceptual design, and a small portion of preliminary design also done by the builder. But nowadays, the entire basic design is also done by the owner or owner's consultant. So the detailed design and construction and maintenance will be by the contractor. So this model is a bit time tested, but there are a lot of risk elements here. What is that risk element? Is there a lot of uncertainties with respect to the ground conditions and the type of machineries to be chosen. So this is because if you in the state, for example, if you're going down by 20 meters, unless you know the soil conditions, the geology very clearly, you cannot choose what type of external wall you are going to adopt, what type of shoring system you are going to adopt. So in places like Chennai, where the groundwater table is very high, we normally go for diaphragm wall. And again, if this diaphragm wall, if the rock levels are higher in the sense, if the diaphragm wall has to pierce through the rock, then the normal grab is not suitable. Then we have to go for expensive trench cutters. So this type of equipments matters. So in the design and build, these are some of the uncertainties. Whatever predicted by the client, if it is not adequate enough, or if it deviates in the site, so there lead to be a lot of claims. So unresolved claims, and it goes to arbitration and the court. So these are type of difficulties. But if you have a proper ground investigation record and well-written contract and all the adequate information, available information covered and given to the contractor before the starting of the work, these claims can be reduced. And generally, these design and build contracts or lump sum contracts. It is not a remeasurement contracts because you cannot have any remeasurement or anything in the front. So now it is said that the design and build contracts are good for the client because the client's risk is low, but it is really not the case. If the preliminary information available to the contractor are inadequate, then there are a lot of uncertainties, lot of claims. And if there is a delay in project, it is not only the contractor that is affected, but also the client. So the project getting delayed, the cost will go up, his commissioning will start late. So these are the things. So design and build contract is a good model, but you need a very good preliminary investigation done, and the industry should be matured enough, a good set of owners, and I mean the level of the maturity or the understanding of the project, the technical difficulties from both sides should be good enough. So now we go to the second model. I mean, the owner's design consultant, there is type 1. This is being used in many cities in India because after going through the design and build and learning the industry for over 2 decades, so the many metro companies or the owners, the government run companies or the quasi-government companies, which are metro rail companies, they go for the hybrid. That is, part of the design will be done by the owner before starting. That is basic design, and detailed design, some by the owner before commencement and some by the contractor. So here, what you can see is, I mean, as I said before, the underground station design, the underground part, the tunneling and underground stations, civil engineering and structural engineering, detailed design will be given to the contractor, and the remaining, the architectural design and MEP design will all be done by the owner's consultant. So that is how this is divided. And this is again, it can be lump sum, but and remeasurement. So the pattern used is whatever you're giving the complete set of drawings, it will be the owner's design will be remeasurement, and the contractor's design part will be lump sum. Again, that element has a overlapping risk, so that can only be overcome by good homework before the commencement of project and a matured industry, as I said. So this is the owner's design contract, which I call, just for the convenience sake, I'm calling it as type 2. Here it is the entire detailed design is done by the owner's consultant. And sorry, and the contractor is only a build-only contract. So here again, there can be two models. But if in case of underground, there are a lot of elements. If it is purely elevated, we all know that the industry, and especially the Indian industry, I mean, right, for the last 70, 80 years, have been building bridges, not metro rail bridges, but what any type of bridge, precast or pre-stressed, high, long span, all bridges are very familiar with the infrastructure contractors. They have been doing that for quite some time. But the underground the experience is relatively less. So initially, the expatriate experts were hired, but now the industry has grown. But the underground uncertainties are still there. So I have been the AECOM, the company for which I am working. We were the detailed design consultants, one of the 3 corridors of this underground metro. And what we did is we completely did the ground investigation for the station, tunnels, everything, very at close proximity, the also driven, and we ascertained the ground conditions, and accordingly we fixed what type of permanent works to be done, what types of temporary works to be done. Temporary works in the sense, it is all in the middle of the road, the underground stations. So there are traffic diversions have to be taken up. So it cannot be done in one go. So part of the road has to be decked and the remaining part will be excavated. So even for the decking, for the struts, generally we follow the top-down construction. So that the road can be thrown open to the general public very soon. You need not wait for the base slab to be completed. So as soon as your top slab is ready, so you can backfill and give back to the traffic. So generally we have followed top down, and depending on the geology, we have specified what type of tunnel boring machine to be used, what type of machine to be used for the diaphragm wall, and how many numbers of other things, other crane and other equipments to be brought. Everything we have specified. So the contractor is very clean. I mean, at the time of quoting, he exactly knew what are the elements of equipments required, and according to the program, what is the time period those equipments are to be employed. And we also specified the key staff, their qualification, their experience, and how many of them are required. So the time frame is then we have done a complete program and given everything. So this is all to reduce the risk of both the owner and the contractor. And here what we did is we provided a full set of drawing, and we asked the bidders to come with a lump sum quote. That is because every single item in a underground metro is difficult to quantify, but we can definitely cover all the work in terms of drawing, including the temporary works. And we can also qualify the type of work, specify what all required. So the contractor will be in a better position to estimate it. So instead of running into the quantities numbers, we went for a lump sum contract for this underground metro. But remeasurement is also possible. So in the same corridor, we have some of the some part is elevated stretch. So we had the same model. We provided all the drawings, but to make the contractor more comfortable, the client wanted to have it as a remeasurement contract. That is, we estimated, quantified everything, and provided a bill of quantities. So in the same model, for the elevated part, we're having remeasurement, and the underground, it's a lump sum. So the international contractors are very familiar with this owner's design contract lump sum. But for local contractors, we had some road shows and pre-bid meetings, explain what is expected, and no issues. People understood very fine, and the quotes are coming in. So this is just we all very familiar with the FIDIC conditions. So I'm just going to run through very quickly before ending my presentation. What are the type of FIDIC models that are being used? So what we talked about is BOT, build, operate, transfer, EPC, engineering, procurement, and construction. And the third one is design and build. And the last one is build only contract or owner's design contract, both of them. And tender types, it can be either lump sum or remeasurement. Both have advantages, disadvantages, depending on what type we are using. Generally, BOT, EPC, design and build, it is lump sum. And build only can both be lump sum and remeasurement. So this is the first model. This is design, build, operate, FIDIC handbook. That is one contract, one contractor, and he's fully responsible. So the green field will be given to him, and this is used for BOT, IPP, PFI, PPP, etc. So the employer will be having a representative to run through this job. So it is two sides, employer and contractor, and a contract employer represented by his representative, contracted by his representative, and more responsibilities for contractor. And EPC is for power plant type of projects, turnkey projects, not very popular among for metro rail projects, but as I said, in one odd project it was used, and now that project, so as it was very well planned, it went on very well, no problems, but not a popular model. So the risk for the contractor is more here. But that is how this contract is built. The engineer is not involved in day-to-day design and construction. So it is more of a performance sort of thing. That is why it is more suitable for power projects or oil and gas plant, where the final product can be assessed and you can confirm whether it is adhering to the required standard or not, which is not very well, I mean, not very uh, very much acceptable in case of civil construction contracts. So this is about EPC and design and build. We talked about it. Here it is what is called FIDIC yellow book is used. So why this FIDIC is used is because this is all international contracts, and the FIDIC conditions both international contractors are very familiar with, and it is very fair. So in olden days, 70 years ago, 60 years ago, the owner or the employer was it? I mean, he was considered as God and giving the work to the contractor. And there were days the contractors were looked down, but the things have changed, and contractors and owners are considered equal now, and that is what is ensured in all these FIDIC documents, and it is fair to both the parties. So that is why the FIDIC conditions are used all over the world, and almost all metro rail projects in India are following the FIDIC conditions, and also the major infrastructure projects in India, civil engineering projects, are following FIDIC conditions. The financing party may be different parties. It might be a World Bank, or it might be a Japanese International Bank, or it might be Asian Development Bank, or it might be funded by the central government or by the local provincial government. The funding agencies might be different, but by and large, the FIDIC conditions are followed. As far as the design and build, we talked about it. So it will be a design responsibility lies with the contractor, but every single design, whatever he prepares, is reviewed and approved by the engineer. Engineer is the representative of the employer or the owner. And again, the construction is supervised by the engineer. So it is not like EPC or BOT contract where contractor is given a free hand. Here contractor designs, contractor constructs, but it is subject to the review and approval of the engineer who is certifying the payment. And there will be a lot of milestones, schedules. It is all to be adhered. So this is construction contract or build only contract. So it's design, construction, supervision, contract administration is all by the employer. The conventional model is this one, where only where we are using the remeasurement model. That is, in conventional model, even the complete set of design or drawings are not given in the first place. So the remeasurement contract type was used. But as I said before, in metro rail projects, especially the underground projects, in other parts of the world, and which we have introduced in the city of Chennai recently, the complete set of drawings for the underground structure, the complete design, and the complete investigation was done beforehand, and it is an underground project, but not remeasurement contract. It is a lump sum contract. So in that way, the risks are covered for either parties, because if it is a remeasurement contract, then again there will be items. There will be some debate saying that you have missed this item, you have not included this in the BOQ. But as long as it is a lump sum and you have covered everything in the drawing, there is no question. If you are ordering something on the contractor which is not covered in the drawings, obviously that is a variation that is to be measured and paid. So, but for that, what all given in the day one as a set of good for construction drawing, the purely designed by the owner's consultant. So there is this engineer's design or owner's design or a build only contract or construction only contract, and that is covered by the red book of FIDIC. So the payment based on both item rate or lump sum according to the contract, and the employer and the employer's representative is the engineer. He's involved in day-to-day activities. Of course, design is done by another hand of employer. So it is mainly the engineer's job is to see that the construction It's done according to the design, and if at all any variation, he has to manage it and see that the project goes on fine. So these are the different types of models which are being used in India and the other parts of the world. And I thank Rail Analysis for this wonderful opportunity to share my experience in this forum. Thank you very much.